here today without two individuals who I'm about to introduce and who are co-hosting today's event. We are so grateful that Mike Thompson is our member of Congress. No one fights harder for Lake County. Let's give a round of applause to Congressman Mike Thompson. And our other co-host of today's event, and we are so grateful for everything she has done for Lake County. She has just secured $2.5 million to be able to clean up the water quality going into Clear Lake. We are so appreciative of her efforts. What's that? All right, there we go. Let's give it up for Assemblywoman Aguiar Curry. Thank you. This morning is truly a milestone event. We are grateful to be able to partner with the Congressman and the Assemblywoman in the County of Lake and all of you in Anderson Springs to be able to move this event forward. Today, we're going to be breaking ground on the $10.5 million Anderson Springs wastewater collection system. And we're going to celebrate dozens of families who will be receiving $7.2 million in low interest and no interest loans to rebuild their homes, and for some, achieve home ownership for the first time. And I'm going to try to get through this without crying, and I apologize. It was a little over 2 years ago that the Valley Fire, the third most destructive in California history, tore through this amazing community. At its peak, this violent blaze was consuming 48 acres every minute. I think that we can all agree, if hell existed on earth, it was the Valley Fire. And it was one of this county's toughest moments. That said, Lake County, like no other, pulled together. Neighbors opened up their homes to neighbors who are now homeless. They fed them, cared for their kids, and they cared for their animals. They got them back on their feet. And there are countless stories which are now etched in Lake County history of this community, even in one of its darkest moments, coming together to help those who needed it most. And today is a reality. It's a reality because of the unbreakable spirit of Lake County, the determination of neighbors and its citizens, and the belief that we can never give up. 20 months ago, we kicked off a process to not just recover, but to rebuild South Lake County stronger than ever. Every month, working with Congressman Thompson, Assemblywoman Cecilia Aguiar Curry, then Assemblyman Bill Dodd, now Senator Bill Dodd, and the supervisors who are here today, and many of the agencies who are here today, we met state and local agencies and federal agencies and neighbors to execute a strategy with one goal in mind: not just recover, but to rebuild stronger than ever before. And I will tell you that this process has not always been easy, and I will tell you it's not always been smooth. But we got to where we're at this morning because of the commitment of these incredible public servants. And we're here today because of all of you. These public servants were firm in their belief that no meant maybe, and they are firm in the belief to go the extra mile because of their loyalty to all of you and to this incredible county. So today we celebrate $10.5 million from the Anderson Springs wastewater collection system, which will allow 119 homes that otherwise would not be rebuilt to be constructed. All 350 parcels in Anderson Springs will be connected to this new wastewater collection system. We're going to celebrate $7.2 million from Cal Home Funds, which will allow dozens of families low interest and no interest loans to rebuild here in the county that they call home. And we're going to celebrate $4.5 million from housing and community development that will be invested in infrastructure projects for fire recovery. I want to end it with this. This is it's a great day. We have a lot of work in front of us. But because of you, we're not just going to rebuild stronger than ever. Lake County is going to thrive in the decades to come. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor to introduce the best congressperson in the United States House of Representatives. He has been serving this county for decades. I think we need to give a loud and proud response to this man who is unwavering in his commitment for the county of Lake. Let's give it up for Congressman Mike Thompson.
Oh, thank you very much. Please sit down. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for that very, very nice introduction and for everything you did and continue to do. It's an honor to be here with you today. And it's an honor to be here with all of you today. But you know, it's kind of bittersweet. We're here for two reasons. One of which is to recognize this is the second anniversary of a very, very tragic time. The second anniversary of the Valley Fire. And as we all know so painfully, that fire devastated our county. It devastated our county, but it didn't put a nick in our spirit. And we should all be very, very proud of that. The devastation was all-consuming. We know that the tragic statistics. We know that lives were lost. We know that over 1,200 homes were burned to the ground. 66 commercial properties burned to the ground. Thousands of people's lives will be changed forever. And as Mike said, it's the third worst fire in the history of the state of California. That third worst fire tested Lake County, and that test showed that Lake County has strength, resilience, and spirit. The wonderful people of Lake County are absolutely fantastic. I want to say a very special thanks to the firefighters, law enforcement, first responders, local electeds, volunteers, every neighbor who answered the call to help over 2 years ago. I was on the East Coast when I turned on the television very early in the morning and saw the initial reports, and immediately made reservations to fly back. By the time I got back that night late, 50,000 acres had already been consumed. 5 o'clock in the morning, I rolled into Middletown. Areas that I'd represented for over 25 years weren't recognizable. And I don't say that lightly. I was at the World Trade Center days after 9/11. I was in Bosnia after the terrible tragedy there. Iraq. I've been in the middle of earthquakes that have happened that devastated our district in different places. And I saw a tour of duty in Vietnam. I can tell you that there was nothing that could have prepared me for what I saw when I drove into Middletown that morning. Where people's homes and businesses stood, there were only ashes. The beautiful green hills of Lake County were burnt black. I saw cars that were melted onto the ground. Melted onto the ground. Livelihoods were lost. Families that have called Lake County home for generations were homeless. It's the first time that I spent a couple of hours in a car with Rob Brown where neither one of us said anything. And actually, that's not altogether true, because I can tell you Rob did a lot of talking. He did a lot of talking because he'd given his cell phone number to his constituents. And the entire time that we drove around witnessing this devastation, people were calling Rob, concerned, worried, scared, frightened. And he took every one of those calls. And he answered them, gave them facts, gave them information, was reassuring to them. And that's right when he said he wasn't going to run for re-election. I said, Rob, you may find this strange coming from this Democrat to somebody who's a little bit to the right of anybody knows, that you really need to run again. And I'd be honored to endorse you for your re-election. I think I scared him, but I'm glad you decided to do it, Rob. Our neighbors in Sonoma County and Napa County helped. The Calistoga Fairgrounds opened up, and at one point there were over 1,000 victims of the fire who were staying at the fairgrounds in Calistoga. Volunteers came to the fairgrounds, they cooked, they helped. There were so many donations that came into the fairgrounds, they had to tell people to stop, that don't bring anything else. People really opened up their pocketbook and their hearts. Tragedies have a way to bring out the best in people, and the Valley Fire was no different. PG&E rebuilt their electrical grid that took decades to build in what seemed to be a matter of a few days. The federal government, state government, local government, and tribal governments came together like I've never seen before. Volunteers came in droves. They treated victims like family. Once the fire was out, the entire community came back together to do whatever was needed to be done. The Lake County Wine Grape Commission has raised over $2.5 million to help provide recovery. I'm glad that I was able to help the federal government direct some help. About $260 million came in from the federal government, and that's helped considerably. The recovery continues, and we see new signs of life every day. A couple of weeks ago, I was up to see Hope City, and we got to walk in homes that people are living in, people that were left homeless because of that fire. And it's just every day that I come to Lake County, I just feel more and more proud to be part of Lake County. And today, we're also here to celebrate some of that new life. The wastewater protection project for Anderson Springs is going to be a life changer for the folks here. And we all know how important that is. I want to thank especially Senator Mike McGuire. This guy, was on the ground right away. And he said that we learned to take no to mean maybe. Mike McGuire took no to mean yes, let's get it done right away. I remember, Mike, when you first ran for the Senate, I endorsed you, and somebody asked me, they said, why did you endorse Mike McGuire? And I said, well, I've represented that Senate district for a long time, and there's a lot of places that would be real easy to forget about. And in the way the district had been redrawn, with Marin County and more of Sonoma County in it, there are places in this Senate district that would be easier to forget about than they were before. I said, Mike McGuire will not forget about a single inch of this Senate district. And Mike, you've proven it time and time again. Thank you very much. And talk about someone who's hit the ground running. Cecilia, you came into this assembly district after the fire, but you just didn't stop. You right away, you said, this is my county. You have shown that day after day, and you've been a tremendous partner in the rebuilding of Lake County after the fire. We're very, very fortunate to have you in the assembly. I just want to say one other thing that's probably a little off message, but I think it's important. We all know the tragedy that comes with a terrible natural disaster such as the fire. We have friends in Texas, in Florida, in the Virgin Islands, and in Puerto Rico. Fellow citizens, all of them, who have been devastated by these hurricanes. So while we celebrate today, let's remember to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. And let's remember that we'll make the same commitment that we've made to Lake County, that we're going to restore people's lives and make every part of this great United States and our territories as strong or stronger than they've ever been. Thank you for letting me be part of Lake County.
Thank you, Congressman, and for your incredible work. And he is one to talk. This man is one of the most tenacious individuals that I have ever met. And if you get in his way, there is a swift 2x4. So I just want to say thank you, Congressman, for your wonderful work, sir. We are so lucky to be able to have Ms. Aguiar Curry as our Assemblywoman. As the Congressman said, not only has she just jumped in, she's already scoring significant victories for the County of Lake. And in fact, it is because of her that we have a Blue Ribbon Task Force that will be created for Clear Lake. And she is one that led this from start to finish. She is our Assemblywoman. We are grateful that she is here today, an incredible partner. Let's give a round of applause and a welcome to Assemblywoman Aguiar Curry.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to see so many faces here that are anxious to see this project get done. And we at the state and the federal level couldn't be happier that this is finally getting going. I wish government ran faster, because that's the way Mike McGuire and I have been energized with bunnies around here. First of all, I do want to acknowledge Mike McGuire. From day one, as we all know, that he was here. And from day one, he taught me all the ins and outs of Lake County and the importance. And I took his lead for many times. When he gets choked up, we all get choked up, because this harms so many families. And to rebuild, it's going to take some time. And I want you to be assured that Mike and I have your back, as well as the Congressman. We all have your back, and we will be there until we get this completed. It's going to take some time. Congressman Thompson, thank you very much for all the leadership you've done for the federal government. We need people like Mike Thompson to continue the trek that we need to go. He has never let down on Lake County, nor has his staff. And his staff, Brad's here somewhere, he's an Energizer Bunny too. He's always in this county. But one thing I did learn is during when I campaigned here, I had a lot to learn about Lake County. I didn't want to let you behind. I will never leave you behind. And when I campaigned and I went and I listened, and many of you know that at first when you met me, you were apprehensive of who's this gal from Winters, California? How does she relate to our district? I relate really well. I'm from this small town. We've had 2 devastating fires the same years you did. And to watch someone's homes go up or devastation, it's very upsetting. But what I did do when I was out and about is I looked around and I asked all of you, what can I help you with after the fires? And economic development has been my #1 thing, and that is why I'm working on getting as I say, let's help make Clear Lake clear again. Let's bring back economic development. So we will be working with the governor's office. I already have a $2 million budget that I've been given. I also asked for another $5 million to help the region. And so we are going to work on economic development as my key thing to bring jobs back to Lake County. Also, just a couple other ones. I don't know how many of you remember how hard I wanted to make sure that we got internet for all. Well, my bill is sitting on the governor's desk as we speak. I'm hoping he signs that off so we can bring internet to the rural communities at a reasonable price. So that's another one to work on. You know, as the trees were falling here and they have to fell some of the trees down, I was really concerned about the safety and who was doing that work. And when I found out this, about $7 million were leaving this county to other states from people coming into the community to take down the trees, I got really upset, because those are jobs that could have stayed here, and it could have helped our community. So we have a bill that's out there right now. We're working on a prevailing wage for public services, public agencies to be able to help fell the trees. So look for that bill. It's right now, it's also sitting on the governor's desk, but we'll be working on that again next year. And lastly, I just want to thank Congressman Thompson and Mike McGuire and all of you. I mean, Sheriff Martin, I could call him anytime, and that guy picks up the phone and calls me back. And I'll say, what's going on? I heard there was a fire, right? You did this a couple of weeks ago. What's going on? You know, with the response of the Sheriff Martin's been incredible. Also, Mo, I should call you Supervisor Simon, I'm so sorry. But when you start getting to know everybody, their first name, Rob Brown, Jim Steele, I'm going to think of her name, Tina. Everybody has been so receptive to us working together. So all of you that work hard, that many times as elected officials, people don't realize how hard we work. And I just want to thank all of you that have done that. So thank you very much. Congratulations on today, that we'll do some groundbreaking, and the best of luck, and just know I have your back. Thank you.
During the peak of the fire, Lynn Assemblyman Bill Dodd stepped up and stood strong. He worked the coordination efforts on the Napa County side to ensure that resources were being delivered in a timely manner. He was active and engaged here in Lake County. And even though he no longer represents Lake County, he will always be an advocate who will go to the mat for your needs. We had a video message from Senator Dodd today, but it's a little too light to be able to see the video message, and we apologize. So in his stead, we have Logan Pitts, who's a senior field representative, representing now Senator Bill Dodd, who will always be a friend to Lake County. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Pitts.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Dodd couldn't be here today, but he personally asked me to come up here. I helped him represent Lake County when he was in the State Assembly, and it's a special place to both of us. So thank you for your time. Here's his statement. Hello, Lake County. I'm sorry I can't be there today, but I wanted to congratulate this community on all you have accomplished over the last 2 years. A few days after the fire started, while it was still raging, my office received a package. The return address was Cobb Mountain Elementary School, and the postmark had the date of September 10th, 2015, 2 days before the Valley Fire started. In the package were hand-drawn thank you cards from the students. We had recently sent them a new California state flag to fly over their campus. The students drew pictures of the flag and wrote heartfelt thank yous. The school survived, and it survived due to the extraordinarily heroic work of the first responders. But I often wonder about the children who drew those cards. They remain in my thoughts and prayers to this day. But today we celebrate a milestone in the rebuilding of a community devastated by fire. I will never forget meeting with first responders as the fire was burning and touring its aftermath with the recovery teams. But the thing that most endures was a sense of hope, perseverance, and community from the people of Lake County. Lake County is a special place. I don't need to tell all you that. Its people are strong and resilient. It was my great honor to serve as your assembly member. Now that I'm in the Senate, Lake County is no longer in my district, but you have great representatives who will go to bat for you. Congressman Thompson, Senator McGuire, and Assemblymember Aguilar Curry. I worked closely with Senator McGuire as recovery efforts began, and we started the groundwork for this project, and his tireless effort was amazing. While Lake County is not my district, I'll always be there to support your representatives and fight for your interests. I want to recognize the hard work of the first responders, nonprofits, board of supervisors, sheriffs, state partners, and each and every one of you for helping the community through the fire and leading us to this great day. You've come a long way. You are Lake County strong. Thank you. And I actually still have those letters from those kids over there. I keep them in my desk, and I look at them occasionally. And they used to make me sad, and they still do, but it gives me hope that when you see a kid's note like this, their life will go on, and they will get better, and Lake County will rebuild. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pitts, and again, we are so grateful to Senator Dodd. Ladies and gentlemen, we now would like to be able to bring up some distinguished speakers. And the first individual needs no introduction, but I want to just highlight this guy has gone above and beyond for our county. He came into the office in a challenging time. And within just 9 months of initially being sworn in, he had the biggest test of his career. And that is responding to the Valley Fire and then keeping our community safe and evacuating 25,000 people out of this county at his feet. I mean it when I say, Sheriff Martin is the hardest working sheriff here in California. We are grateful for his work and the work of his deputies. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give an Anderson Springs welcome to Lake County Sheriff Donnie Martin.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that I'm learning through all of this journey is that tears are contagious. When I see Mike up here, he starts to choke back tears. It affects me too, and it affected me during the Valley Fire. Laughs, fortunately, are also contagious. We shed a lot of tears, but we had a few opportunities from laughs during this. In every tragedy, there's always some little sliver of hope, and we were able to find that on a few occasions. I didn't have a speech prepared, so I just have some notes written down here on the back of the program. But I do want to reemphasize everything that's been said here about your leaders being here for you. Your leaders have been here from day one. They'll continue to be here. I have a couple of just real quick snippets of stories to express my personal experience with the Valley Fire. Senator McGuire was with me in my car the night the Valley Fire occurred. He called up, said, I want to get up there, we're going to drive around. We drove through. He got to hear firsthand what everybody here that lived through that fire got to hear. He got to see, he got to smell. You got to hear the propane tanks exploding. You got to hear the sound of a fire that sounded like a jet engine coming down right downtown Middletown. You got to see people fleeing from their homes. The smell of the power lines and the cracking and the popping. It was horrible. And when he told me that night in the car, he says, "Oh, we're here now. We're going to be here through this whole thing." That was an empty promise. Obviously, he's here. I want to thank him personally for being a good friend through all this, to me personally and to Lake County. Mike Thompson, on the phone. I'm new to politics. I'm not a politician. I'm just a Lake County guy as a cop. I'll try that. Looks like I'm friend with the sheriff. So I've had a lot of fun during this time. I've seen what good political leaders can do. I think a lot of us have seen what not so good political leaders don't do, but we have some truly good leaders in this county. Mike and Mike, both of you guys are role models for everybody. Welcome to the party, Cecilia. We're a first-name county here. So call me Brian. I'll speak for Moak. I call Moak. If you slip up and call Supervisor Simon, he'll still answer, but he always answer to Moak. Moak, before he took on the job, he was one of the guys that I could call. I called him out. I said, we need places to put people, Moak. Not a problem. I'll make it happen. That was easy. Man, thank you. Thanks for doing that. He's done so many good things for this community. Some of the things you don't think about. School was right in the middle of starting. Brock Falkenberg. Where are you at, Brock? Thanks for all your help and making sure that we were able to get kids shifted around. We were able to deliver some gift cards for kids at Middletown School. Thanks for all your hard work. I think people get caught up in that and they realize, oh, what are the kids going to do? We need to make sure that their education continues. Jody Traversero at Cal OES. She's been a great partner. Introduced me to Mark Gillarducci anytime I needed something done. Pick up the phone and call her, and wow, it's amazing what you get done. And you have friends that are good hard workers. Thank you for everything you've done. Mike talks about what a hard-working sheriff I am. One other thing that's contagious, along with laughter and tears, is hard work. I think sometimes I work as hard as I can. I just to keep up with Rob Brown. Right, I can't keep up with him. But anytime I needed something done from somebody in the county, somebody needed a fire lit under him or a boot planted somewhere, call up Rob, and Rob would make it happen. And if he couldn't make it happen, he'd go in there and do it himself. You call me the hardest working supervisor, but I'm trying to keep up with Rob. So, just want to close in saying that I worked for law enforcement my entire adult career, starting with the military. And one of the things that I have learned in my law enforcement career is that a mark of true leadership is that true leaders rise and perform at their very best when things are at their very worst. And I think you're seeing that amongst everybody here. If I missed somebody, I apologize. Scott, with CAL FIRE, you guys are an army. I mean, that's like calling out a military operation when you have a CAL FIRE incident management team show up and help you out. True precision. It's unbelievable what you guys were able to do. So thank you, and thank you, CAL FIRE, for all of that. With that, who remembers the first time they saw a home being framed up after the Valley Fire? Yeah, I remember seeing it. I remember thinking that's one of those moments in your life where you just remember exactly where you were and what you were doing because you saw something that you didn't know would have such an impact on you. I remember the first garage that I saw framed up here in Middletown. I drove by and I thought, wow, okay, this is really happening. So we're going to see more of that. We're going to have some good times. We're going to have some bad times. We're going to have some frustrations. But know that your leaders are here. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to continue to do everything we can. We're going to continue working hard until we get the whole way through this. Thank you for the opportunity to serve this community. And I couldn't do it without the help and support of the community. Thank you.
Our next speaker, again, needs no introduction, but we do have a special recognition for him. I first got a call on September 12th, actually, from Supervisor Brown, who was directing traffic, making sure that folks were able to get out safely out of Lake County to Napa. In the initial hours of any large disaster, we all know it can be chaos. There's one calming force during the fire, and that is the rock of Lake County, and that's Rob Brown. Rob Brown has stepped up time and time again to make sure that this county is getting the services and the resources that it needs in its darkest days. We, along with Congressman Thompson and the Assemblywoman, we're going to turn the mic over to be able to say a few words about the supervisor, have a special recognition for Mr. Brown as our fire recovery champion. When there weren't enough building inspectors in the county to be able to get homes rebuilt, Rob Brown strapped a lot of stuff to his belt and got him approved over 100 homes. During the Clayton Fire, when there was no one else to be able to run the recovery process for the Clayton Fire, there was one person that this county could turn to, and that is Rob Brown. When we needed a shelter manager, there was Rob Brown to be able to run the shelter. During the Clayton Fire, he literally got on a backhoe and started putting fire out to be able to do structure protection for homes as that fire raced down to Upper Lake. There is no one that has sacrificed more on behalf of this county than Rob Brown. I'd like to turn it over to the Congressman and then the Assemblywoman to say a few words that we're going to hear from the Supervisor himself.
Well, I second everything that Mike McGuire said. Rob Brown has done it all. He continues to do it all. And that's in addition to all the other things he does that aren't fire related in the county. From the wrestling stuff to the county work. Rob, you're a great guy, you're a great friend, and thanks for everything that you do.
My voice. It's with great honor that we would like to recognize you, Rob. And I think one of the things on this that probably many people don't realize, but when this says community counselor and dad, those are number one, buddy. And you've done so much for the community. Thank you very much. So, Rob Brown, fire recovery champion, county supervisor, firefighter, recovery coordinator, building inspector, backhoe operator, event manager, shelter director, bail agent, community counselor, and dad. Congratulations.
You guys totally screwed me. I didn't see that coming at all. Thank you so much. There's one thing that Brian recognizes and the rest of us have talked about. None of us can do our job without the folks that are behind us. And I came into county government because of my cynicism of government and my concern and thinking that government's not doing their job. And I can tell you it didn't take very long for me to realize what a tremendous team that the county has, not to mention the state and the feds, but this county team is unbelievable. I know I've missed somebody, so I'm not going to bother trying to talk about all the people that I could count on, and they're the ones that really helped make everything happen when the time was being needed the most. We did have a few laughs, and I just want to tell one story before I go into my remarks. Congressman Thompson came up with Brad Honorado. We had the big black SUV, and Supervisor Gore and Fire Chief from Sonoma County was up, and we were doing this tour. And we got up to the top of Bottle Rock up there, and highway patrolmen from out of the county, they didn't know any of us, and they had the barricade up there, and so I got out and I went over to talk to Highway Patrol, and I said, "You see the guy over there in the passenger seat?" I said, "That's Vice President Biden. We need to get through it." And the guy, I'll never forget this, and I know this is being videotaped, so it's a little riskier, but the guy said, "Oh shit, open the gate." Apparently all you guys look alike. So anyway, welcome and thank you for all for coming out this morning. Many of you have driven hours to be here for this very important occasion. And while this morning is meant to mark a significant milestone and to offer gratitude to those that have had a part in making it happen, I'm sure that those of you that came for this well-deserved recognition will indulge me as I thank those that are the most important to all of us. Those that have lost so much and have endured such an emotional roller coaster as we've gotten to this point. Those of you who, along with your families, have said, we could move on, we could find an easier way, we could turn our back on all this. Here we've decided that staying in Lake County and making it even stronger than it was before September 12, 2015 is what we choose to do. I know that not everyone will rebuild in the exact spot that they once lived, but some have, while others, like my amazing friend Joan Clay, she's chosen to live close by and support and encourage others to rebuild their lives in this amazing community. She will always be Henderson Springs. People like Janice Irvin and Joe Holbert, Mark Nichols and Darina Simeonova that are able to rebuild as a result of the $7.2 million of Cal Home funds made available by a partnership with Hammers for Hope and California Housing and Community Development. People like Darcy Andrews and Bernie Hosmer, who were renting the home they lived in destroyed by the Valley Fire, they will now be homeowners as a result of the same program. The list goes on, and as I look around this group, I see so many of you that I admire so much for your strength, your courage, and your inspiration to all of us. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
The first night, we were desperate to be able to find a shelter in county. And we, Jody Travasero and OES and the sheriff, we're trying to determine where can we put literally hundreds of people. And we knew it would be permanent for the next 3 weeks, maybe 4. We stopped by the Rancheria and talked with their chair. And we asked, can we use your facility? He goes, why are you asking? We're going to open it up. And not only are we going to open it up, we're going to feed them, we're going to give them comfort, and we're going to treat them like family. Who knew back then that Moke Simon will now be our supervisor representing Middletown? His heart is with Lake County. Everything he does it because it's personal. And I want to take a moment to welcome, on behalf of the congressman and the assemblywoman, and say thank you to Supervisor Simon for coming to the aid for his home county. He's going to say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, Supervisor Simon.
Good morning, everyone. I went through the Valley Fire as a citizen, not as a public official. It started at 1:30 in the afternoon, and by 3 o'clock we knew it was going to be devastating. So I was wondering what I was going to do as a leader of my people in our business and our community. And first thing was to get everybody out, do everything that we could. And it was tough, I went through it just like you did. I packed my family up, put them in the car, said, I'll see you later. Whether or not that was going to be true, I didn't know that. And that was some of the toughest times. But as it went on, as the night went on and those types of things, spent about the next 24 to 36 hours alone, surrounded by everything that was going on. And I'll tell you what, when Brian Martin called me and asked if they could come over and talk about setting up the shelter, that was a welcome call, because I was happy to talk to somebody. I want to do something positive. So I just have to tell you, I stood on those steps in some of the first press conferences and said, we will rebuild this community, and today is something very special. This is just one step towards rebuilding this phenomenal community. And as I said, my people have been here for 12,000 years. And that's documented, and believe me, we've been trying to be forced off this land before, and we will never go. It's that simple. So when I talk about rebuilding the community, as far as it goes, I'm just about as much tied to this ground as anyone is, and we'll constantly work on your behalf, help rebuild. I visited many homes out here and other things as we're doing the rebuilding process, and I can't say how proud I am of how strong this community is. The heart and the spirit that's here in this county is unbelievable. It makes it easy for me to coach football, be the chairman, be a supervisor, and to bust my butt every day for you and try and help where I can. I can't fix everything, but I will do my best to help you through every process, every frustration, and and that's what I'll do. As you call me Moke, that's who I am. I'm known across the country as Moke Simon. And I will never change. I think I'm the most unique politician you'll ever meet, because I'm just Moke. I just want to help you and do what's right. And I'll always do that on your behalf. A lot of stuff has been talked about today, but something on September 12th when we had our Board of Supervisors meetings, I just always want to remember that 4 people lost their lives in this fire. And, I know a lot of material things are gone and others, but there are families that are suffering that lost folks that weren't able to make it out. And right here in Anderson Springs was the most of that loss and loss of life. And I just want to always remember that even though everything is taken away, as long as you have your life, your family, and the people that you love, you'll always be able to recover, and you'll always be better for it. And it will make you stronger as an individual and your family as you move forward. A lot of stuff has been talked about today, but that's where my heart is. It's with this community and each and every one of you. Mr. McGuire, I still remember, you were the first
large official that I had saw when we were talking about the shelter. And I really appreciate that. I'll never forget that day. Jody, Brian, thank you so much. And we were ready. Like I said, we had that event center cleaned out. It was you guys were 3 days late in my mind. Like, when are we getting our people back? And, you know, I understand how government works. I'm on the other side now. It is a little bit slower. We've got to speed it up a little. But I really am happy where it's at. It's a pleasure to work with Rob Brown. You know, I'm hoping as we move forward, I keep saying he's not going to run again. We'll see. We'll see when he makes that decision. But if he does, you know, I will do everything that I can to carry on his legacy of just representing you as a wholehearted supervisor for Lake County and helping just make us stronger. Economic development, Cecilia Curry, I'm excited to work on that. That is one of my passions. Here in South County, as a tribe, we've invested over $70 million in South Lake County, and I plan on hopefully bringing that to the county and we can do a lot more projects. We are the place to grow, and I'm going to help work on that. Congressman Thompson, I've known you for years. I've worked on tribal issues with you before. I visited your office back in D.C. as a tribal leader, so I'm just excited to have the opportunity to work with you as a county representative and to help you keep doing things good for your county. And as you can tell, I'm not dressed up. I got a game in Petaluma at 1 o'clock. The Mustangs are 2-0. We plan on running the table, so I won't drag it out today, unlike a lot of the other times they give me the microphone. So I do want to tell you, I love this community. I love each and every one of you, and I will help anytime that I can. My phone number is all over the place. I live right on the Rancheria. I'm always accessible. Thank you very much.
There are so many that stepped up at our greatest time of need. Those that may have not had a connection to Lake County prior. And one of those individuals is Jody Travisero. Jody is now an unofficial resident of Lake County. And it's because she spent so much time here during the Valley's fire. She literally spent weeks here making sure that the state and the federal response to recovery was coordinated and smooth. And I got to tell you, she was responsible for delivering millions of dollars in initial aid to make sure that all of us had the resources we needed to be able to recover. She's our regional administrator for the Office of Emergency Services. She's now a great friend and will be forever grateful for Jody's hard work, her commitment, and her sacrifice. Let's give her a round of applause.
I get teary-eyed every time I come here. I swell with joy to see this beautiful community recover so gracefully, and the tenacity is amazing. I was a third person in that vehicle at midnight that night of the fire. We met in the Safeway parking lot. The sheriff and Senator McGuire said, "I need you here, Jody." And my primary goal was to understand the needs of this community and understand the severity of this, because government doesn't work fast. But you know what? We care and we do our very best. So through the efforts of the incredible communication and openness of this community, I was thankfully able to communicate this is a major presidential disaster. You might have remembered at that time we were just on the heels of the Rocky and Jerusalem fire, both fires. We had that debris moving. That was not an easy task, as you know, to get through the bureaucracy to get things moving. We also had a raging fire in Butte County, and our heroic CAL FIRE team stepped up immediately. And of course, we immediately ordered mutual aid to support the community, including the National Guard. And you know, we started seeing just how amazingly resilient this community was as they evacuated down Highway 29. Don't forget there was a project on Highway 29. CAL FIRE had a one-lane road, and everybody was screaming out of here just trying to get out. And Caltrans, of course, changed the lights and made sure we could get out to this fairgrounds, and the sheriff stepped up down there. And I'd say by 3 in the morning, the sheriff said we need to get down to the fairgrounds and give people a status report and communicate frequently and often, even if we don't have good news. And of course, we wanted to bring every possible leader that we could bring to the table that could provide some type of insight into how to begin to deal with this devastation. So in my job, I have to say I'm always inspired by Lake County. In fact, you gave me the inspiration to continue on day by day. We didn't sleep for 3 weeks. And every time I come here, I don't want to leave. And I love you guys. And, there were a lot of people that I know whose parents and friends live here, and they always would, text me in the middle of the night, how's my mom's house, But as we began to go regularly to the high school to bring everybody in, and the sheriff and everybody deciding, Rob Brown was amazing, deciding, when do we let people back in? And, it was one of those challenges where we wanted to make sure there was a place for them to go if they lost their homes. And that there was this patchwork of solutions that we brought to the table, which was complicated. And the heroism and leadership of these leaders that come from all different parts of government to come together and seamlessly respond is phenomenal. And again, when I went down to the shelter and I started seeing music playing and thinking of our musician also here, where's music playing? And we began to see hope. And we realized at that point that not all of Middletown was destroyed. And that was just such great news at that time. So I just reflect on a regular basis on what we went through and how far we've come. I celebrate your resilience and grace and the fact that you all pulled together, neighbor helping neighbor, city helping city, county helping county, the feds helping the state. I mean, it's just sometimes unusual, I'll say. And of course, I'm just thrilled to support this community always, and I'll always be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. We're grateful that you're here today. And please pass on our sincere thanks to the director as well. There are a lot of heroes that stepped forward during the Valley and Clayton fire. And I think some of the biggest heroes wear a badge. And especially with CAL FIRE. There is no greater firefighting force in the United States of America than the brave men and women of CAL FIRE, who were here initially for that initial response, all throughout the effort, and continue to be here today serving Anderson Springs and the Middletown area via the South Lake Fire Protection District. And there is an individual who is the lead for our region who we will forever be grateful for. And that is Scott Upton. He is our CAL FIRE Region Chief. His heart is with Lake County, and we cannot say thank you enough to the amazing firefighters who sacrifice so much, and many, by the way, who sacrifice doing structure protection while their own home burned down. We need to take a moment to say thank you to CAL FIRE and all the firefighters in Lake County. Let's give a round of applause to Chief Upton.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. I see how lucky you are to have such leadership. You look at everybody here, and I do have to say that the only senator that I've ever seen at an incident command post the night of the initial attack response was this guy. He showed up. That's how much he cares. With us, Senator McGuire had asked me to kind of relay what it was like that day for us and to kind of reflect. And for me, as a young guy, I started, my first major incident was the Oakland Hills fire, which was the worst one. And then I went to work, South Lake Fire Protection, and worked for Madeline back there in Madeline as a battalion chief. And this is my area, this is my sponsor area, and I've worked here for quite some time. So when the Valley Fire hit, I was the unit chief at that time, my office down in Santa Helena. And when I came up here, I got a call that 4 of our guys had been burned. A hill attack crew had been burned over. Not a call you want to get as a unit chief. And then the subsequent life loss that Moak was talking about. I do believe if it wasn't for the Rocky and the Jerusalem and all the incidents that summer, and people had really saw how the fire had burned, that we would have lost more. And I think that people were aware when they smelled smoke, they got their bags packed and they got out, and appreciate that. But you guys are so resilient. I love working up here. I like coming up here still. And it's good to see the leadership that you've got. And where's Mike at? Mike Wayne. Bring that up, Mike. Senator, if you'd come up here and join me in a second. I told him, we were back there talking earlier, and I said, you made one hell of a fire chief, you know? I mean, this guy is tenacious. He supports us, he supports you. He never stops going, and we appreciate it so much. So from the director of CAL FIRE, Mike, we've got a plaque for you, just to show our appreciation and your support for your constituents. And we thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Steve. And again, thank you for your incredible work. Mr. Wink, thank you for all your amazing work as well. We'll be forever grateful. Thank you. There's an individual who has been designing this system here with special districts in Lake County, and she has never taken no for an answer to get this damn thing done. She stepped in, and as all of us do, life happens. And through even personal tragedy, Jan Coppinger has been the steady hand that we've needed to be able to get this wastewater system designed, broken ground, and built. It would not be happening without Jan Coppinger, who is our Executive Director of Special Districts. We need to give her a round of applause. She's going to be speaking to us, and let's give her a big thank you.
Thank you for that, and good morning, everyone. I was going to try yesterday to write a few notes of what I'd talk about today, and I just couldn't put my thoughts together without choking up, and I don't like to choke up, so I scrapped it. I'm just going to get up here and wing it. I still choke up when I think of that day and this fire, and it's just, I guess it will be that way forever. I know everyone at Anderson Springs that's heard me talk before has heard me say that this is the most challenging and complicated project I've ever worked on in my entire career history, and that is still true. But I also need to say it's also been the most rewarding project I have ever worked on. And it's been rewarding on a lot of different levels, but one of them is to see so many people come together and do what they needed to do to make it happen. The collaboration of all the agencies, the entities, the individuals, and every bit of it was necessary to get where we are today. It reminds me of a large, complicated jigsaw puzzle that every little intricate piece has to fit together so perfectly, and if only one piece was missing, it would never be complete. That's about how this project is, and I can't thank enough all the people that have helped us get where we are. On Thursday, we opened bids for the construction contract. And on Thursday, we opened bids for the construction contract. We do have a contract. We will be taking it to Board of Directors on the 17th and asking them to award it. And the actual collection lines will be moving ahead. So I know for those of you waiting to build your home and get your lives back in order, this seems like it's been forever and it's been so slow, but I can tell you from a perspective of infrastructure and government and funding and all the things we had to go through, this project's actually moving at lightning speed. I have never seen, and I know it's because of all the people, Senator McGuire, everybody that's been pushing and helping and keeping it going, and it's like nothing I've ever seen. One of the memories I'll always have about September 12th, 2015 is my own home sits right at the base of Cobb Mountain, and I watched the smoke just billow off that mountain, and I watched the first responders flying up to it, and I knew it was pure hell going on up there, and that my fellow county residents, my neighbors and my friends were caught up in that, and it was probably the worst case scenario, and the utter helplessness that I felt because there wasn't anything I could do. And I think that helplessness is why helping recover from the Valley Fire is not a job to me, it's a passion. I have never seen it as drudgery. I do not get tired. I do not mind working 3-day weekends or whatever I have to do, because it is a passion that helps me heal from a form of PTSD that I've never experienced before. I've never experienced anything quite like this, and I hope I never do again. But the people of Anderson Springs have literally become friends to me. I don't see you as future customers. I see you as neighbors and friends, and I am so joyful to hear about another home that's breaking ground and going up, and I am so happy to be a little part of the sewer system that's going to allow the 119 homes that would never be able to be rebuilt without it, get it done so that over 100 people can start rebuilding their lives. So I'm honored to be able to be a part of it all. I do want to say I don't do this alone. I have a great team, a phenomenal team, and I want to point out a few people. Of course, I'll overlook some people, and I apologize for that. But the ones that are here, one is Mark Dellinger. He was the administrator when we started this project. Even though he's retired, this whole project is very near and dear to him. He's stayed involved. He's offered his help wherever he can. And it's always good to see him here. And thanks, Mark. Also, we have Scott Harder, our Deputy Administrator, and Will Evans, Compliance Coordinator back there. I'm very fortunate to have those two working with me. Special Districts has an amazing team of people. I'm very proud of them. We accomplish a lot with very little. And they're two of the key players, but really none of this could happen without all of them. I can't do anything without the entire team, so I'm very proud of our team. But also the county players, the other departments. I see Ray Rominsky from Environmental Health. We couldn't have done anything without him. And Bob Massarelli, I saw him here. I hope I didn't overlook other departments, but really it's been one heck of a team effort. And I just want to thank you all, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. I want to say thank you to Jan and to our sheriff, who is also MacGyver, as we have been able to keep these flags up. So thank you so much, Sheriff Martin. Appreciate everyone's patience as we've been going through our ceremony and hearing from those individuals who have been instrumental in the rebuilding and recovering process. We would now like to take a brief moment to be able to recognize individuals who have stepped up and gone above and beyond for Anderson Springs and the County of Lake. We want to introduce to you the faces behind the scenes of the federal and state agencies, the county agencies, who have been able to secure these dollars to move these projects forward. We're going to ask Supervisor Brown to be able to talk about the award quickly. We're going to give each individual that we're going to be calling up a very special award on behalf of the County of Lake.
By the way, Moog, if I knew you were going to dress like that, I wouldn't have got all dressed up.
It's all right, we beat you guys last week. So.
We'll see you at wrestling season. So these plaques that I have here, that we're going to be presenting. Senator McGuire wanted to give something to each of the agencies and folks that were instrumental in helping us and have been throughout this entire process. And so we kicked around some ideas, and I told him I'd work on something. And so I came up with this design, and so I'd just like to read for you this what I wrote on the back to give people an understanding of what this represents. It says, Lake County Strong. This plaque was made from a 70-year-old cedar tree that was burned in the Valley Fire on September 12, 2015. It was milled by Danny Prather, whose family has lived on Cobb Mountain for 8 generations, and that same family successfully fought to save hundreds of homes, while many of their own family and friends lost theirs in the fire. The outline of Lake County was cut from a road sign that was destroyed here in Anderson Springs. This plaque might look ordinary and may not seem like much. However, it represents our beautiful county more than you might realize. Just like us, it's a little rough and it has a few scars, but it's able to hang in there because of people like you. This plaque is Lake County, and we thank you.
So we'd like to be able to recognize those individuals. Supervisor Simon has to go beat Petaluma, so he's going to lead us off with our first two recognitions. Supervisor Simon.
Thank you, Senator. And like I said, I'm already thinking about the game, so I'll get through these things. Number one, Assemblymember Cecilia Aguilar Curry. Cecilia, thank you so much. You've been so open, and since the day I met you in the town hall meeting, I knew you were going to do great things for us. So I have a little blurb here that I'll read, but I'd like to come up. Lake County is very fortunate to have such great leadership at the state level, and although she just took office in November, she's already proven that she is dedicated to helping Lake County and has been a great advocate and a partner to get things done for us in Sacramento. Thank you very much. Senator Logan, if you come on up. Senator Bill Dodd was our assembly member during the Valley and Clayton fires, and we are grateful for all the work you did to get us here today. Senator Dodd and Logan Pitts were part of the initial phone calls that got this project started, and without their support in cutting through some red tape, I'm not sure we would have got this great project that we have today to celebrate. So thank you very much.
Before Supervisor Simon leads, we have something special for him. Supervisor Brown.
So it's my honor to present this to Moke Simon. I remember on Halloween, the day that we were barbecuing up on the hill up there, and he told me he was going to run for office, and I thought, man, there's going to be a good rep right there. And since then, I've been so fortunate to have him as a team member. He's just an amazing person, and even though he's a giant in physical stature, if he was 5'2", weighed 120 pounds, he would still have the heart of a giant. This man is unbelievable, and I just love him like a brother.
These things are awesome, Rob. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
The next one I'd like to present is to Congressman Thompson. Come on up, Mike, if you would. And I know there's a lot of people behind your team too, and I know you'll give this. Here, come over here. This will be the only time you're to the right of me. So I just appreciate Congressman Thompson so much. We've been friends since I was on the school board and he was on the state senate. And he's just been an incredible partner for Lake County, an advocate for veterans, for all of you, and available at 2 o'clock in the morning by phone. I know this for a fact because he's called me at that time to see how things were going. And too, I just can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. So I don't think there's anyone here from NCO, North Coast Opportunities right now. Okay, so I'll get their plaque to them. North Coast Opportunities, as many of you know, stepped up. We've been involved with them with the county for many years, but they stepped up as part of Team Lake County, work in so many ways to identify housing issues, just so much that they've done. And now we're actually working with us as a partner with the Hammers for Hope program and the Cal Home program to do the vetting for those that are qualified and being qualified for those Cal Home projects. So we'll have a plaque for them as well. And this one I'd like to give to another group of people that just have shown so much resilience and so much strength and
and character, and that's the Anderson Springs Group. Craig, would you come up, please, and accept that on behalf of Anderson Springs?
Thank you. To be able to bring forward our next recognitions, we'd like to be able to introduce the California Water Board, and especially three amazing women. Their names are Jennifer, Julie, and Francine. And over the past 20 months, these three women have gone above and beyond to secure $7.5 million, the vast majority of funding for the Anderson Springs wastewater collection project. And without them, this groundbreaking would not be happening today. We have with us today Jennifer Toney. Come on forward. She has been incredible to work with, and I think we need to give her a big round of applause and say thank you for incredible work. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you for coming up as well. Our next recognitions will go to Housing and Community Development, in particular John Diedisch and Charles Gray. John and Charles overcame significant hurdles to secure $7.25 million that will benefit several dozen Lake County families in low interest and no interest loans. These loans will help them rebuild their homes or achieve home ownership for the first time. In addition, HCD will be investing nearly $2 million to complete the Anderson Springs wastewater collection system. Representing HCD here today is Charles Gray, and we cannot say thank you enough to Charles. Charles, if you could please come forward so we can recognize you. We met her just a few moments ago, and she will always be a hero to Lake County. And that's our regional administrator for the California Office of Emergency Services, Jody Travisero. Come on up here. Jody answered the call of duty at a moment's notice during the Valley and Clayton fires. She led the state's emergency response and recovery efforts and is responsible for tens of millions of dollars in initial recovery dollars being secured for the county of Lake. She answered her phone every time. She was ordering cots and foods and blankets. Jody, you are such a special person. Hello. And I just want to say how grateful I am, and I know all of us are, for your amazing work. And this truly is your calling in life, and we're so lucky to have you. Finally, before I turn it over to Congressman Thompson, we'll be able to recognize two organizations. We have representatives here today. And that's the Redwood Credit Union and the Press Democrat. The Valley Fire started on September 12th. And by September 13th, tens of thousands of dollars were raised for those who have been displaced by the fire. Over the subsequent weeks, over $2.5 million was raised by this partnership, from elementary school students in New York to service clubs in Santa Rosa. Thanks to the incredible generosity of Redwood Credit Union, 100% of all donations of the $2.5 million benefited the survivors of the Valley Fire. And if that was not enough, they fired up the Lake County Fire Recovery Fund again during the Clayton Fire and raised nearly an additional $300,000 for Clayton Fire survivors. We are so grateful to the Redwood Credit Union and Press Democrat for their unwavering commitment to Lake County. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And now, it is my pleasure to be able to turn the podium over to Congressman Thompson with our next recognitions.
Thank you, Mike. One of the folks that I have the honor to honor is not here today, but I just want to give a shout out to Quinn Donovan from USDA. As I say, he's unable to be here, but we want to take a moment to say thank you for his hard work that secured $1.5 million for the Anderson Springs wastewater collection system. Please give him a hand. The next honoree you've already heard from today, but it's a great pleasure and honor to call him up here, CAL FIRE Chief Scott Upton. Scott, can you come up? Scott helped lead the massive firefighting efforts during the Valley and Clayton fires. Lake County residents could not be more grateful for the incredible work of America's finest firefighting force, CAL FIRE. When there wasn't any funding yet available to even start working on making a sewer system possible, Lake County Rising stepped in to cover the first $50,000 to get the environmental document started. In total, this organization has raised over $1 million in a matter of weeks after the fire first broke out, which supported hundreds of Lake County neighbors who were in desperate need. Is there someone here from Lake County Rising? Rob Brown. The next recipient is Hope City. Kevin and Valerie Cox aren't originally from Lake County, but are now honorary residents here as they have made it their mission through the great organization Hope City to mobilize hundreds of volunteers to rebuild or to build and rebuild dozens of homes in Lake County. Kevin couldn't be here today, but Valerie is, and we want to acknowledge the incredible work that they're doing. Where's Valerie?
Being able to bring forward our next recognitions, we're honored to turn the podium back over to Assemblywoman Aguilar Kirby.
You know, Brian Martin sneaks in and out pretty easily, doesn't he? So one of the recognitions is for Brian Martin. Again, I want to thank him for all that he's done. I'm sure all of you feel the same way. I'm so honored to work with such an incredible sheriff that when I call, he picks up the phone immediately, and when he calls me, I pick up the phone. So this one of the recognitions is for Brian Martin. We'll make sure we get that to him. So when I first came up here, I wasn't familiar with Hammers for Hope, but they really are an incredible group. Made up of Lake County leaders, volunteering their time, Hammers for Hope has stepped up to create a unique partnership with the state to provide housing for county residents who lost their homes during these devastating blazes. These homes will be built at a cost of $60,000, and it couldn't have been done without the help and the leadership of Hammers for Hope. So I would like to welcome Rob Brown. Yes, Mr. Brown, come on up. I've never met Jan before, but I can't wait to just to pick her brain, because do you know how hard it is to be a special districts director? It's a tough, tough job, and I've worked in water projects many times. So as the district director of special districts, Jana has been a fearless leader in the design and execution of the Anderson Springs wastewater collection system. Through thick and thin, Jana has been a steady hand to turn what was once a design into what will now be a reality that will benefit all of you here in Anderson Springs for decades to come. Come on up, Jana. Truly, this is the toughest job. You will not believe it. I would also like to acknowledge Carol Hutchison. She's unable to be here today. She had a long-time family meeting. But we want to thank her for the tremendous leadership she's done during the fires and through the recovery and the rebuilding. So we'll make sure that Carol gets hers as well. So thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to have the big ceremony. So we're going to invite all of you. Craig is going to be kicking us off out at the ceremonial pile of dirt. So we're going to take a 2-minute break. Craig is going to say a few words on behalf of the Anderson Springs community, and then Congressman Thompson is going to be able to close this ceremony out. We invite you to please join us at the dirt pile. Let's get this project started, everyone.
We have one more gift to present. The Homeowners Association wanted to honor Senator McGuire. So I called his office and I said, what size trunks does he wear so he can jump in the creek? And his office said, Senator McGuire is not a jump in the creek kind of guy. So we have this plaque made from milk wood with the Anderson Springs arrow. It says, Anderson Springs, founded 1873, reborn 2017. Thank you, Senator McGuire.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And on behalf of Congressman Thompson and Assemblywoman, we are grateful for this recognition. Let's head out, let's turn some dirt, and we're going to hear from Craig in just a moment. So Craig, why don't you kick us off?
So thank you everyone for being here. This means so much to our community. My family has been at Anderson Springs visiting or living here for 5 generations. And all the hard work of these wonderful people has made continued residence here possible. And we couldn't be more grateful. So thank you, everyone. Doris, would you say a few words?
Well, I'm filming.
Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. Everybody. So I think what we need to do is we need to do a countdown, right? So we're going to start from 10. Here we go. Everybody have a shovel. Get a shovel. There we go. Then we're going to invite Anderson Springs community members to come do your own groundbreaking. All right. So here we go. Let's do it from 10. Ready? Let's start it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I get no time.
Thanks to the guys who just worked tirelessly and put together a fantastic celebration today. Thanks for
all the skepticism and challenges that we have right now in government, this was truly a team effort from the top with Congressman Thompson all the way down here to the community. This is what happens when government works together, when we put aside our differences and we bring in the dogs. Thank you. We are so grateful to be working with all of you. Another round of applause to the Congressman for his incredible service. Round of applause to the all of the state agencies who have been working so hard. Tony up here. Thank you. And we are just grateful to be part of this. We also need to say thank you to some of the staff members who are amazing. One was Carrie Lindecker. Where is Carrie? Carrie is director in our office, and I gotta say, Carrie has been running everything behind the scenes. I'm not gonna get emotional, but she works so hard to make sure that all of this works, and I just want to take a moment to say thanks to her. And then finally, just want to say thanks to all of you. And I think we need to get some Anderson Springs residents. And Miss Tony needs to come up here and turn the shovel as well. Let's get some Anderson Springs neighbors. Come on up, everybody.
Gene, Tom, get in there.
Come on up.
Sharon, where are you?
Hey, no.
Sharon, get in there.
Boris, you gotta come up.
Greg, where's Greg?
See the people who want to don't want to.
We'll do a countdown again. Okay, we're gonna do a countdown. All right, we're gonna do a countdown. Here we go. We're gonna see how we need one more. Who's gonna come up? One more. Yeah, come on, Tony. Oh yeah, we need Gary. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have plenty of goodies for you, and then just Supervisor Brown and Ken, real quick, this will be on the Board of Supervisors calendar. Why don't you just give us an update? October 17th. This will be approved by the Board of Supervisors on October 17th. Thank you all for your incredible support. Thank you for allowing us to partner with all of you, and thank you for your hard work. We look forward to welcoming you to lunch this afternoon. Thank you.